In 1870, British author Wilkie Collins wrote, "I begin to believe in only one civilizing influence, the discovery one of these days of a destructive agent so terrible that war shall mean annihilation, and men's fears will force them to keep the peace." Such was the hope of the scientists and military leaders who, in 1945, gathered to witness the final test of a weapon that would surely end all wars. The first atomic bomb was almost unearthly in its indiscriminate destructive power, for which there was no practical defense. Hiroshima and Nagasaki smoldered in ruin. Japan surrendered. The end of World War II had brought forth the new standard in military might, and another war, a Cold War, was about to begin. America continued to develop atomic weapons, but was not alone. 4 years later, the Soviet Union tested their first atomic bomb, beginning an arms race that literally shook the earth. The two superpowers evolved a new strategic doctrine called mutually assured destruction.
Mutually assured destruction implied that neither the United States nor the Soviet Union could risk a first strike.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our class. Today is our short class, and I am trying to do different things at the same time here. You can see here that I had my European Union class today, and that was over 2 hours long. And so I'm trying to convert this file, the Zoom recording, so that I can post it on the European Union class. But it's a big file. These files are like 450 megabytes. And so I want to make sure I don't hit the wrong button or click on the wrong icon and inadvertently shut down my effort to save this Zoom file and convert it. So, because that did happen once before. So I'm trying to avoid doing anything with this screen here. Okay, so this is our short class, and we have our first debate. And I know you're excited about it. I'm excited about it. We just had a debate in the previous class and it seemed to go pretty well. And so we have Subin Ju is going to debate me, Pro, on this topic. To South Koreans, the U.S. Trump administration's highly unusual foreign policy decision-making process increases the chances for maintaining peace on the Korean Peninsula. So I want to thank you for submitting your paragraphs. And sometimes you reply to my comments as if you think that I'm criticizing your paragraphs. I'm not criticizing them. I'm just raising alternative points of view because, we want to think about the material here. And there are no absolute correct final answers to any of these questions. There's different perspectives. And, and one of my tasks is to provoke you and to think about these topics from different points of view, right? And on some of your comments, those of you who think that the Trump administration, that Donald Trump is disruptive and he's bad in terms of his decision-making policies, I pointed out that you're not necessarily wrong, but of course, the defenders of Donald Trump point out that the North Koreans started developing nuclear weapons long before Donald Trump became president. And they developed those nuclear weapons because clearly they think that they have a serious challenge from the West, from America and its allies, South Korea and Japan. Whether they think that they have that challenge because they think that they can win the Korean War and because they think that the Americans are lacking the will to resist now that the communist threat is over, like there's no longer a Soviet Union that motivated the Americans to participate in the Korean War, believing that the Soviet Union was a Russian version of Nazi Germany. That's gone, right? And so maybe North Korea thinks it can win the Korean War finally because the Americans don't care so much anymore. Or did they develop nuclear weapons because they think that the Americans want to do to North Korea what they did to East Germany, have West Germany take over East Germany, similarly have South Korea, Seoul absorb North Korea and spread American hegemony up to the border with Jeff. Somebody just called me on the phone. Nobody ever calls me on these phones before, so I just shut it down. I think it was a marketing call. Sorry for the noise. So, this sounds like this is a real debate. I mean, I can show you, we have lots of opportunities through December to show you how people are making this argument that we cannot appease North Korea. Don't appease North Korea. Appeasement bad. Remember, appeasement bad. Appeasement is what the London and Paris did with Hitler in the late 1930s. And that was a terrible mistake that made World War II more likely. In other words, that North Korea is belligerent because it sees opportunity. But Seoul and Washington lack the will and determination to resist. But they become decadent and degenerate. And if you appease North Korea by letting it continue to develop more nuclear weapons and giving it what it wants, it will just become even more aggressive. They just killed, I mean, what? Yesterday, they killed a South Korean official across the maritime border on Yeonpyeong Island. They think America under Trump has lost its will. It's preoccupied with the coronavirus pandemic that it can't control, and Trump is a disaster who wants to get reelected, and he doesn't care about anything about keeping his job, and he doesn't care about South Korea, and he doesn't care. And it's a tremendous opportunity for the People's Democratic Republic of Korea under the leadership of Kim Jong-un, with the support of Xi Jinping in China, to finally reunify the Korean Peninsula. Or are they belligerent and nasty because they think the Americans see an opportunity against North Korea and to finally win the Korean War and spread American hegemony and control through the Korean Peninsula and then throughout Asia up to the border of China, and finally to spread democracy to China itself? These are the kinds of debates that are being expressed in Washington, D.C. right now, right? And so that's the context for this debate topic. I have to make sure, so I don't forget, that I go back to the screen share, and you see I'm now going to allow multiple participants to share screens. So I've already set up so everybody else now in the class can also share their screens. I think you can see this, right? And that is, go share screen and share. So this is what you should be seeing. What happened to the screen? So anyway, and so Subin Ju, if she has a PowerPoint presentation or a Microsoft Word file or whatever, if she wants to show a YouTube video, she can do that. Everybody can share screen the same way I can share screen now. And that's the topic, right? That perspective about not appeasing North Korea, that tends to be more of a neo-realist, structural realist argument, right? Claims that shared more by Moon Jae-in government in Seoul, that North Korea government is unstable, it's afraid, it sees a threat from South Korea, that it's got its internal problems and dynamics. Those are state-level factors of analysis, which tends to be more of a focus, I think, of the Moon Jae-in government. That North Korea leadership is dealing with politics. It's dealing with conflicting constituencies and groups within North Korea who are pressuring the Kim Jong-un ruling clique, including from the military and other groups. In other words, that the conflict between North and South Korea and between North Korea and the United States is based upon mutual misperception of threats and fears, rather than the desire of North Korea to expand its influence in a post-Cold War world with a Donald Trump administration. So, all right, so let me open up some files, because this is our short class, and in about 10 minutes we have to go to our debate topic. So I think I already opened up. I should have. Here we go to week 4, and so and then yeah. But the focus of this class is definitely upon domestic, state level and individual factors of analysis in explaining state behavior. So, by the way, I want to show you how these topics are important. I voted in the last US elections. So here is my, I think I have my ballot here. Where did I do with my ballot? I think, no, did I have my ballot? Well, maybe I can't show you. I did vote in the elections for president of the United States, and I don't seem to have it here right away to show to you because I think I might have put it in the wrong file. But maybe I could show it to you this way. The elections in the United States have already started, right? So if I go to, let me see if I can open up this file, Stark County Board of Elections, go here, and then I go to Stark County Board of Elections, and that's just to show you what I did here. Absentee ballot, early voting. And actually, I'm not going to be able to show this to you right now, I think, because I have to find it, and I can't find it at this time. Maybe this is it. That's the application. Sorry. Okay, we don't have time. I'll have to show you another time. But the elections are now underway in the United States. I voted this past Monday. I mailed in my ballot. Millions of people are now voting. And the outcome of this election is very important, obviously, to many people, including Donald Trump. Some people claim that if Donald Trump is not reelected, he could end up in jail. And one of the motivations he has to try to win this upcoming election is that it will allow him to put off legal proceedings against him to extend over 8 years, 9 years since he first became president, if he gets reelected, to go beyond what's called the statute of limitations, that too much time has passed between the crimes and the prosecution to allow him to be found guilty. If he is removed from office in January, when the new president comes in, there's still enough time to charge him with crimes. So the claim is by his opponents is that he desperately wants to stay in power so that he cannot be prosecuted for crimes, right? So, and so that's affecting U.S. foreign policy behavior today. Donald Trump is criticizing China harshly, primarily to appeal to American voters to win the elections, not because of neo-realist concerns about the rise of China and the rising China against the declining hegemon. Those are structural realist perspectives that are highlighted by Hook in this chapter. But then he's going to stop talking so much about that in the rest of the book and talk about state level factors and individual level factors of analysis. But to show you, right, that Trump is desperately playing with these notions, you see that here, for example, is I told you that not the Trump administration, but people associated with the Trump administration are claiming that the Chinese, for example, created the coronavirus, and they created coronavirus to attack the United States. So if I go to Zoom here without hopefully shutting down the computer screen, share screen, and I have to keep that up. So I have to try to share screen, new share, and here it is, right? Share. So you can see Chinese virologists claim the coronavirus was intentionally released. Turns out she works for a group led by Steve Bannon. Well, Steve Bannon was the campaign director for Donald Trump in 2016. He's no longer in the administration. He was in Donald Trump's administration, but then he left. He was kicked out a few years ago. And this person is claiming that, and I think she's Chinese American, that the Chinese created the coronavirus in a military lab, and they released it on purpose to weaken the United States. So if you're the Chinese government and you're hearing these people that are associated with the Trump administration make this claim, how are you supposed to respond? are you supposed to make an interpretation, as appears to be the case? The Chinese leadership is assuming that, well, this is just all domestic American politics. The Chinese, the Chinese government understands supposedly that this is all just propaganda that Trump is articulating to try to win the election by claiming he's not responsible for this disaster in America, the pandemic. It was an attack from the Chinese, and that if he wins, he'll forget about all of this. That the American government will move away from all of this and go back to Trump making a deal with Xi Jinping as a businessman, or not, right? If you're the Chinese, you might say, aha, this is further indication that America is moving in a virulently anti-Chinese direction. We have to prepare. We're definitely going to be in a new Cold War with the United States. We will not be able to go back to the way we had cooperation until at least 4 or 5 years ago. Things were getting bad even under Obama with his talk of pivot to Asia, and that this will have implications for North Korea and South Korea. So this is evidence, what I told you in that previous class, that not officially, but the Trump administration, unofficial supporters are claiming that the Chinese government did this on purpose, right? So, you know, and this
virus, COVID-19 SARS-CoV-2 virus, actually is not from nature. It is a man-made virus created in the lab based on the China military discover and own the very unique bat coronavirus, which cannot affect people, but after the modification, becomes the very harmful virus at now. So I have evidence to show why they can do it.
So she's not working for the Trump administration, but she is associated with people who have been closely associated with Trump. And Fox News is the most popular television program in the country. And it is basically working for Trump. It's the most popular news source in the United States, and it basically serves the Trump administration. He is Donald Trump's main supporter, Tucker Carlson. Right? So there's a whole chapter in the book about the media and foreign policy in the United States, the media, the role of the media. Right? And this is very important. So this is the kind of rhetoric. This is just from a few days ago, right? Coming out. What are the implications for this for peaceful conflict resolution between China and the United States, particularly in places like the Korean Peninsula? What is Kim Jong-un, if at all, interpreting? How is he interpreting what's going on in America? And I mean, is it just a coincidence that that South Korean government military official was killed yesterday? What does that mean about how the North Koreans view the South Koreans, and particularly view what's going on in Washington? If you're a militant realist, you might say, see, the North Koreans think that the Americans lack the will and determination to resist. They're falling apart, and North Korea is going to take advantage of the situation right now. Certainly that's the claim of that Sarang-Jil church, that Kim Jong-un doesn't understand, Moon Jae-in does not understand the true threat from North Korea, that he's too willing to cooperate with North Korea, that he is signaling that South Korea is weak and degenerate and standing up to North Korea. See, I'm not saying that Sarang-Jil Church is right, or that I'm right, or that Donald Trump is right, or Kim Jong-un is right, but I'm saying that we at least understand where we are disagreeing and what the debate about. What are the sources of American foreign policy? What are the motivations for Chinese foreign policy? What are the motivations for North Korean behavior today, or South Korean foreign policy behavior today? These are the debates. These debates are surrounding what are the ultimate motivations for foreign policy. And from the state perspective, these motivations and individual level perspective, these motivations can be diverse and different. Structural realism doesn't focus so much about that. They say that where there's a weakness, a state will attempt to expand into that vacuum in international relations, because it assumes that states are motivated by desire for power in its own right. They don't want to talk about all this complexity about economic interests and national grandeur and prestige and vested interests and elections. We don't need to talk about that too much. And that's not the assumption of this textbook. So, okay, so let me then go back to the class notes. And because we don't, like I said, we don't have much time because this is our short class. And so I think we should go to the debate because we have to make sure we have enough time for that debate. I just wanted to show you these kinds of debate of conflicts and debates that we're having about how we should respond. Should we appease North Korea? It's different from what happened in the 1930s with Germany under Hitler, because now we have nuclear weapons, right? And that changes so much of the context. Everybody knows that if we escalate to war, it could eliminate, kill tens, hundreds of millions of people, maybe end civilization, right? So you see, for example, in China and India, how they're fighting over the border between India and China. And the desire to prevent escalation is so strong that through unintended escalation of this conflict, that the Chinese and the Indians have now been fighting with maces, right? That the Chinese and the Indians several weeks ago got into a fight, and the Chinese soldiers fought the Indian soldiers on the border, and they didn't use guns, they didn't even use bayonets and knives, because they used these maces here, because this is a non-traditional weapon. It's a medieval weapon from the Middle Ages. The Chinese used these because if they too easily had used guns and bayonets, it's too easy to say it's a military conflict. So they fought hand to hand, and they can just call it a brawl. But at the root of this is a 1996 bilateral agreement that says neither side shall open fire, conduct blast operations, or hunt with guns or explosives within 2 kilometers of the line of actual control. So the Chinese attacked the Indians, and we don't know how many Chinese died. At least 20 Indian soldiers died in this brawl, in this deadly physical fight. CIA estimates that at least 12 Chinese, maybe more soldiers died. All because of nuclear weapons. They're doing things like this to prevent escalation. So that's always the qualifier, that even though we're trying to learn from what happened with dealing with Hitler's Germany and the Soviet Union, we're all also concerned about making sure this doesn't escalate, because nuclear weapons will be the end of civilization if they're used, right? So let's go now to our debate topic. Subin Ju, who's going to keep time for us here?
Sir, before that, you got to do attendance, right?
Oh, thank you. I forgot. Okay, we got to do attendance. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. And let me see, I would have forgotten if you hadn't mentioned it, because, you know, there's this short class and I want to get through so much. And so we got to go to, okay, I got to log in and go like this, and American foreign policy and attendance, and add smart attendance and start. So your number is 536, 536. So please add 536. Enter 536 to indicate your attendance. Hooray! Okay, 536. So that's your number. So I'm going to move away from the screen because we have to move on here. So let me stop share, find are the participants, and let's see here. Who is a former student of mine who knows how to keep time? And it looks like it's you again, Ho-ryung. Ho-ryung, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, can you keep time? Okay, so we go to our debate. So I've already set up screen share. As you can see, everybody can screen share. So Subin Ju, are you here? Where's Subin Ju?
Yes.
Okay, Subin Ju, and I think your name is familiar. I think you know the format of this. So you speak for 6 minutes maximum. Opening. Oh no, I'm pro. actually, I'm pro. That's right. This time I'm pro. In the previous class, I was con. So, okay, Ho-Young, I'm going to start, okay? So, all right. So, ready, set, go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to argue pro here that, that Donald Trump's unusual foreign policy behavior is a good thing because it is shaking up the status quo. You know, as I point out in some of my comments on your paragraphs, right? The North Koreans began developing nuclear weapons long before Donald Trump came into office, and they began developing nuclear weapons. It's hard to clearly define when this conflict escalated, but before the September 11, 2001 attacks in the 1990s, the United States and the Clinton administration were negotiating with the North Koreans. And there had been progress made in denuclearizing the Korean Peninsula. The North Koreans made a big show of blowing up one of their nuclear reactors that they had built to create nuclear fuel. And I remember, because I was in Bulgaria, teaching at the American University in Bulgaria at this time, and they showed in the news press releases the North Koreans detonating, destroying, demolishing one of these nuclear plants. And this is in the 1990s, Now, people have claimed that the North Koreans were cheating, that they had other plants, that they were still making plutonium, for example, plutonium as a fuel for nuclear bombs. You know, uranium-235 is one fuel, another fuel for atomic weapons is plutonium, right? And they dismantled, demolished one reactor, but they were still moving forward sneakingly on another reactor. Maybe it was true, maybe not. But then the elections happened for president of the United States in 2000, and Al Gore lost to George W. Bush. George W. Bush was in office for 9 months, and then on September 11, 2001, the 19 militants hijacked American planes and crashed them into the World Trade Center and the U.S. Pentagon. And one of the planes evidently was headed, a fourth plane was evidently headed towards the White House, and it was crashed by the passengers, stopping the hijackers from flying the plane onto Washington into a field in Pennsylvania. And then George W. Bush declared his war on terrorism. And he put North Korea, along with Saddam Hussein's Iraq and Assad's Syria, within a so-called axis of evil, including Zimbabwe, by the way, at the time, into an axis of evil, and proclaiming as if that America was not going to, and of course the Taliban's Afghanistan is part of an axis of evil, and that the Americans were going to therefore bring about regime change, implying regime change. He didn't say regime change, but the supporters of the Bush administration were implying regime change in these countries and bring democracy to them by removing them the way the Americans had removed they helped remove the fascist regimes in Japan at the end of World War II, and in Italy and in Germany. The Americans would go into Iraq, would go into Afghanistan, remove these tin pot little Hitlers in supposedly in Saddam Hussein, and get rid of the Taliban, and do in Afghanistan and Iraq what they did in Germany and Japan after World War II, and spread democracy in these regions. And Iraq would become a beacon of democracy in the Middle East and encourage peaceful change in the Middle East, and also and finally get rid of this regime in North Korea as well. Was the implication? Although George W. Bush didn't say that, his supporters were saying that. And then there was a movement forward to develop in North Korea these nuclear weapons. The North Koreans detonated a nuclear weapon when Ban Ki-moon was made UN Secretary General, and that was the escalation of the situation, right? These escalating conflicts in the 2000s, George W. Bush, and then Bush was replaced by Barack Obama, and further provocations were happening with on Yeonpyeong Island, the North Koreans shelled that island and killed I think four South Koreans, 2 civilians and 2 Marines. They blew up the Chonan frigate and killed at least 50 sailors. And this is happening under Barack Obama.
1 minute
Right?
left.
So, and this escalating conflict was continue to escalate with more nuclear tests, more missile tests, and Donald Trump stopped it. He made some fire and fury remarks. It shook up North Korea and South Korea. Moon Jae-in moved to try to de-escalate the situation, and Donald Trump met twice with Kim Jong-un, and they have made the effort. Of course, now the world has been frozen in a sense by the coronavirus pandemic. We're all trying to deal with this situation, so we're all distracted. But Donald Trump certainly de-escalated the conflict in Korea, didn't he? And if he gets reelected, he will no longer have to worry about being reelected, and he can move more forcefully to, particularly if Kim Jong-un knows that, you know, Donald Trump is his friend. Donald Trump is his friend. If he's going to make these changes, now is the time to make these changes because Donald Trump will cooperate with North Korea. Donald Trump is, so that's the situation for Pro. So I will stop there and let Subin Ju take over.
Can I start?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm Khan, and in my opinion, Trump's highly unusual foreign policy making process decreases the chance for maintaining peace on the Korean Peninsula. So I have 3 reasons. First of all, to South Korea, Trump has asked for more amount of money for the protection the U.S. military is offering. He's increasing the cost of U.S. troops tremendously, or he claims that he would withdraw them. This can mean that South Korea and other neighboring countries like Japan should acquire nuclear weapons. South Korea did not develop nuclear weapons because they relied on the US for protection, which was promised since the Korean War. South Koreans cannot assume that Trump prioritizes their security. The alliance with South Korea became fragile and unpredictable. Secondly, it is true that Trump and Kim Jong-un had 3 meetings and there were chances to denuclearize North Korea. Kim even agreed on working toward denuclearization. He refrained from any weapon test for a while. However, in the beginning of 2020, Kim said he would not have relations with the US for a long period. And without receiving the sanctions, North Korea blew up a symbol of Korean reconciliation and threatened to reoccupy guards on the demilitarized zone. But the final demand Kim pursues is the split of Washington and Seoul, in my opinion, which Trump is now accelerating. This can mean that Trump failed to have good relations with both North and South Korea, which can increase the chance for not maintaining peace. And lastly, Trump's pattern of thinking is labeled as Trumpism, and his views are deal-oriented and has no clear pattern. There were many disagreements on policies toward North Korea between the US and South Korea continuously, and due to Trump, all the uncertainty is giving to South Korea may trigger to problems regarding peace on the peninsula. And I uploaded a short YouTube link on the chat because I don't really know how to share my contents. And I'm done.
You can do share screen at the bottom. You can see there's share screen at the bottom. You just got to click there. Okay. First, you have to open up the YouTube video screen, and then
Yes.
oh, okay, go. And I don't see it. I mean, there's nothing happening.
I think it's only opening on my screen then. Is it not working?
Well, it's frozen at 12 seconds. Did you start it? Okay, now it's working, I think. You You might be, make sure you're not muted too.
Yes.
It should be running, but it's not running though. I don't see.
Oh, but I turned it on.
Yeah, but we cannot see the videos.
Oh. Professor, can you share the link instead?
Okay, so let me go to chat. Oh, that was a good idea. I hadn't thought about that. Okay, so let me open it up. Aha, ha, 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 ha. I see. Well, that's cool. Okay, yeah, we can do it like this. So like this, and I go like this, and then I let it run here.
Hi, I'm Brett Cowan.
And then I go
In this
to
video, I'm gonna
share
show you how
screen,
anyone can quickly and easily
and
create doodle videos, just like the one you're watching right now, using Doodle.
It was a year that saw the leaders of the United States and North Korea exchanging threats of nuclear war and some rather undignified insults. Donald Trump called the North Korean leader Little Rocket Man. Kim Jong-un dubbed the US president a mentally deranged dotard. They boasted about their nuclear buttons.
The US mainland is within the range of our nuclear strike, and the nuclear button is put on the desk in my office at all times.
And sparked fears the Korean peninsula could be edging closer to war.
They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.
It certainly has elevated the level of tension on the peninsula. President Trump has made this issue his most important foreign policy issue, so it has brought a lot of attention globally.
During Trump's first year in office, North Korea launched its first successful tests of intercontinental ballistic missiles, demonstrating that its weapons could reach the United States. It conducted its biggest ever nuclear bomb test, and late last year declared its weapons development program was complete. In response, the U.S. successfully pushed for tough UN sanctions, including a cap on North Korea's petrol supplies.
What's that? You want me to continue, or you want me to continue, or do you want to talk?
Professor, time's up.
Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah, you know, I like how this works then. So now we figured out how we can use chat if we have a technical problem, which is a new thing for me. Okay. Yeah, but you know, but that video you're showing, that's old. How old is it? That's from 2000. That's from almost 2 years and 9 months ago. I mean, let me open that up here. See if I can. No, that's not the right one I want here. That video, it says, is from January 2018. The world's changed since then, right? Then Trump has met twice before with Kim Jong-un. There haven't been any tests. Now, I know things have gotten worse most recently, but that's because of the distraction of the world in dealing with North Korea because of the coronavirus pandemic. I mean, everybody's focused on dealing with this this once in a century crisis, and I mean look. Let me step back a moment and make that point. And I think that Donald Trump's supporters might make this point. Some of them might make this point as well. The Cold War is over. The United States fought the Korean War because of the desire to contain the Russian version of Nazi Germany, the supposed Russian version of Nazi Germany. Soviet Union obsosoyo. Soviet Union obsosoyo. The Soviet Union is gone, right? The conflict between North and South Korea is no longer an issue of trying to contain the Soviet Union. Is it because of trying to contain China? Well, okay, that's a different issue. If China's seen an expansion as a dangerous threat, then North Korea might be a useful ally or a useful tool for China in spreading its influence. Certainly, as the conflict between the United States and China, if it escalates, it will likely increase the bargaining leverage that Pyongyang has over Beijing and influencing China to support it. Because if US and China escalate in their conflict, they're more likely to see their allies as more and more important. So if conflict between China and China and the United States increases, United States support for South Korea will increase and will likely increase, and North Korea and Chinese support for North Korea will increase. But that's unfortunate for the Koreans, right? I mean, the suffering in North Korea was terrible before the coronavirus pandemic. We don't know what's going on in terms of North Korea's dealing with the virus. They claim they don't have any coronavirus infections, which is probably wrong. But you know, the conflict. The point is, if there's going to be resolution between North and South Korea, it has to be an issue that the North and South Koreans take the lead in addressing, right?
1 minute left.
Sorry? Oh, 1 minute left? Okay. So, you know, that's the point that has to be made. That I think if I have 1 minute left in terms of the question here, if the Korean conflict is to formally end, the Koreans need to take the lead in this. The North and South Koreans need to take the lead in negotiating their conflicts and coming to an agreement on them. And Donald Trump's diplomacy of demanding more money from South Korea should indicate, for example, to North and South Korea that the Koreans need to work to resolve this conflict if it's going to be resolved. You can't rely upon Beijing and Washington to resolve this conflict, to take the lead in resolving this conflict. It has to be the Korean people themselves.
Time's up.
Thank you. Subin, now you are Khan and you rebut and conclude.
Okay. So according to Korean specialists, since the Trump administration, North Korea has possessed greater threats. They tested more weapons and didn't agree on denuclearization, as Trump said that he would make possible. Also, to South Koreans, Trump is not capable to provide security. The alliance South Korea had made with him is now vulnerable. Trump only prioritizes America, and not only Korea views Trump impulsive, but also he is a threat to other international allies. Trump failed on stopping the COVID-19 virus, and allies such as China, Russia, Mexico, and even Australia has been pushed away. His disagreement on global climate issues and other foreign policies, which are rash and chaotic, is a threat internationally. Under the Trump administration, relations among the countries are turbulent and unpredictable. Unlike the prior US administrations, Trump is not using soft power, or at least trying to use soft power. The US was not a country that only bragged about armed forces and threatened other countries to withdraw the US troops. But Trump eroded America's soft power. And international cooperation comes from soft power, which I strongly believe. And that's my rebuttal and conclusion.
Okay. I would suggest, since I have the final word here, that my esteemed opponent is reflecting the brainwashing of American hegemony. Who is entranced by American soft power here? Certainly not the North Koreans and not the Chinese. All right. You know, if you're a Chinese leader or a North Korean leader, you know, this focus on claiming that America is the leader of the world because of its soft power is basically, it seems to be some kind of excuse for maintaining American global hegemony, American global empire, a new form of empire. We're not talking about the old style of empire 150 years ago when the Japanese began expanding and the French and the British had their empire. No, it's a different kind of empire. It's an empire where you have control through indirect means, through appeal through economic and material interests. And but what about why does the whole world have to become Americanized? Why does the whole world have to learn English? Why can't the world be under Chinese influence? What about French? We have some French students in the class. How do you feel, French students, about the world decreasingly studying French? They don't need to study French because they think English is the world, the lingua franca, yeah. That's a French term, right? It's the official language of the world polity. It's got to be English. Does the world have to be that way? Do you necessarily feel that if you're Russian or Chinese? Now, Japan was defeated by the Americans in World War II. So was Germany, France, and Italy, and UK are under American hegemony. But the Russians won World War II. They did most of the work of winning World War II. There's no reason why they have to submit to American hegemony too. And certainly with China, I mean, China's is an alternative model for developing these poor countries around the world that are facing not only the coronavirus pandemic, but now global climate change. I mean, this is the biggest threat to human civilization we've ever faced, and it has to be addressed now. And we can't rely upon the Americans. They elected Trump, by the way. They elected Trump. You're going to tell me that this American soft power is so great?
30 seconds left.
Yeah, I mean, the Chinese model in 40-some years has gone from a very poor country to a superpower. And that's going to be appealing to the rest of the world that doesn't have the luxuries of two big oceans protecting it the way the Americans had, where you have states created with arbitrary boundaries in Asia and Africa by the French and the British and the Dutch and the Portuguese, right? And they have to develop now to deal with poverty and the additional calamities of global climate change. Why does the whole world have to try to follow the American model when the American model gave us Trump? Break your brainwashing. Okay. Okay, that's my statement. And so now what I would like to do is now to ask everybody, does anybody have any questions to the debaters?
Yeah, I have a question about to Colin.
Who's speaking?
It's Kim Hyun-chul.
Kim Hyun-chul. Okay, go, ask.
Yeah, so I have two questions. And like the first one, like she showed us about the YouTube video about North Koreans, the aspects. And first one is the States get the intel that North Korean military they invested the intercontinental volatile missile, which is ICBM, and how the U.S. specifically coped against to the North Korea. That was the first one. And second one is the Donald Trump provoked to Kim Jong-un as the rocket man, and how did the Donald Trump could convince the North Korean ain't go back with that ICBM? That's all.
Khan?
Yes?
Can you respond?
No, can you respond instead of me, please?
Well, I mean, he's claiming how can you blame the United States for Kim Jong-un's ballistic missiles tests? Why? I mean, are you claiming that? I mean, that the ballistic missile tests are a result of Donald Trump's reckless diplomacy? Is that what you're claiming? That basically Donald Trump made the situation worse, and that he basically made the situation worse with his fire and fury statements, and then stepped in to clean up or try to contain the crisis that he created in claiming, oh, see, I'm a great peacemaker. I've ended the escalating crisis in Korea, but he created the escalating crisis. Is that what you're saying? He creates a problem, he manufactures a problem, and then he steps in to try to clean up the problem he created, and he claims he's made a big difference. Is that what you're claiming?
No, not really. But I think that he just gave attention to the North Koreans so that they became more enraged.
Enraged? Uh-huh.
So okay. I think he gave the purpose to them.
Ah, He's made the situation worse. He strengthened the conservatives in North Korea. Oh, we'll see. We'll see in terms of what kind of economic, what kind of reforms Kim Jong-un can carry out. But of course, we don't know. Okay, well, we're running out of time, and now I want to do a poll. Okay, so first thing I want to do is ask you who won the debate. So this is anonymous. I don't know. I set it up so that I do not know how you're voting. It's anonymous. I can't show you it's anonymous because I'm afraid I might shut down Zoom. But I just want to show you. So please vote.
Weird. It's European policy making poll.
Oh no! End poll. Oh. Thank you. What happened there? I thought. Oh. Okay, so let me close this. Well, that's interesting. No. I don't want to leave meeting. Let me see. That's not supposed to happen. Okay, so is this? No. Okay, I'm gonna do this one. Do it fast here. So close this. New poll. And hopefully I can do this without causing, because I don't want to shut this down. And because I've done that before by accident. Oh no. No. So let me see if I can. We have a glitch. We have a glitchy. Okay, so that's not supposed to happen. And I'm afraid to mess with this because I don't want to lose. Okay, so let me close that, and let me do this. Let me see if I can do a new poll. See, it takes me back to the Zoom sign in, and I'm afraid that I'm going to lose the Zoom recording if I mess with it. So I don't want to do that. I can't launch a new poll. And yeah, we might have to stop. So I have to vote on another occasion. Darn it! I set it up. I know I set it up. So let me see here. Prince. These are the okay. So and you know, it's defaulting to the polls of the previous class, and I don't want it to do that. And if I click on edit, it does this, and I don't want to see sign in. What if I? No, don't do it. Okay, so okay, all right, how to do this? I really don't know how to fix this without. I don't want to. All right, we'll have to do it another time because it won't default to the polls I set up for this class. Poll. Okay, we'll have to work on it another time because this thing is not working. So,
Professor, how about using the cyber campus? I heard the cyber campus is a menu of using poll to do poll.
Okay, let me go to cyber campus and student monitoring. Okay, so when we go to survey, okay, add. And Yeah, but I think we're running out of time here.
Can we do it next time?
Just a second. Yeah, we might have to, yeah. Yeah.
The poll on the cyber campus is uploaded.
It's uploaded?
Yes, it's I can check it.
Okay.
Oh, not yet. Just the poll on the cyber campus is uploaded, but we cannot do the poll. We cannot do actually do the poll.
Okay. All right. Well, I have to work on it later because I got to sign off because somebody. So, okay, we'll work on it Monday. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't know why. Yeah, why this is not working. Okay. All right. So let me end the meeting because I want to make sure I save the file. Okay.